Hello, everyone. It's Saturday. It's Chat with Mac. We're glad to have you. Thank you so much for all of you that look at our videos every week. We really appreciate it. Please subscribe. Please press the subscribe button there on our YouTube page. We would love to get the word out on what we're doing. And for those of you that are new to what we do, welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday, Nadeem.
Happy Saturday. Hey, you're going to hear some noise in the background. It's just people working around here, but hopefully we'll
Yes,
try to keep it down.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, I want to talk about something that has been exciting yet a little bit controversial, and that's Chat GPT. Now, people have a varying degree of understanding on what it is. People have a varying degree of fear based on it. Just if you could just give us an understanding for those that don't understand what it is and what it isn't.
So there's a few things, especially lately it's been in the news and stuff, and there's just been a lot of talk back and forth, just a lot of stuff going on about ChatGPT. So it is an AI project. So basically, think of it this way. Remember back in the day when people used to ask Jeeves? Nobody remembers, right? So it
I
used to be a
remember.
thing. People used to go to ask Jeeves,
Mhm.
and actually, I was talking to one of the guys earlier, and he brought up, oh yeah, there used to be Ask Jeeves, and I was like, that's interesting. So there used to be Ask Jeeves, and then Google replaced Ask Jeeves. In the near future, Chat GPT and such services are going to either replace Google or Google is going to start adopting them because the way the system works, the AI component of it really takes context of the search to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit. The other things that you might have heard about is I know there's a lot of discussions going on that Chat GPT is going to kill certain industries, like people who do research. I mean, it's going to kill their jobs. People, doing some of these things. It's writers. It's going to kill the writers' jobs because Chat GPT can write very well,
Yeah.
and we'll get into that. It's not. It's not totally true. There's always fear. The thing is, whenever something new comes around, there's always fear. And some people adopt it and some people don't. A lot of times people who don't adopt new technologies, they get left behind, and then the world moves on, right? And we'll get into that a little bit too. And then finally, the final thing that's going on is people are asking, what is Microsoft doing here? And that's another interesting thing because what Microsoft does and what Microsoft is doing is going to impact the regular user without even knowing about AI or Chat GPT or anything like that. So those are some of the things. So, think of Chat GPT as a digital clerk in your service. You tell it to do something, it knows the context of what you're asking, and it goes out and does it for you. I've seen people use it for example, writing code. Like they will actually tell ChatGPT, hey, write me a code to break a password on a blah 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 machine, and it will actually create that code for you, and it will give you, yeah, it understands the context. So like if you type in, hey, write me a code to break the password on a Windows machine, for example, and then you say, okay, now do it for Linux. It understands the context. So it will write the code to break the password on a Unix machine. So it understands that context. And I'm just
Mhm.
giving you examples. Don't try this at home, right? Um, so the conversation actually came about in the security world, which was all you CISOs, your security experts, your jobs are in jeopardy because ChatGPT is going to replace you. It is not, right? So ChatGPT is very context aware. It seems human-like, but it's not human. So even if you have ChatGPT write you a nice book or an essay, a human still has to go through it and proofread it and make sure that things are not totally, out of whack. So it's not going to replace it. It can do a lot of the repetitive grunt work for you, but it's
Mhm.
not going to replace the high-end intelligence of a human. That
Mhm.
is what. So where the world is moving to is the redundant, routine stuff that you do in a cycle, like the grunt work, what I call it, that's that can be replaced by digital technologies. But the higher end functioning, the higher brain functions, the thinking still is going to remain with the human. So what we're doing is we are allowing humans to focus more on thinking as opposed to just doing repetitive work, which is a good thing. That gives us more bandwidth to focus on what really matters, the hard to do stuff that machines simply cannot do. Are you with me, Max, so far?
I am.
Awesome. So it's not taking away jobs, but just like when horse carriages went away and automobiles came in, there was a big thing going on, and then when we first went from ground transport to air transport, it was a big thing. I mean, it was the devil's work and this and that. I mean, all kinds of things. I mean, I remember when microwaves first came out, how many rumors and how much talk there was that, I've heard people say, and I still remember it. It was a close relative of mine. He was like, I'm never going to eat anything that has been cooked in a microwave. That is just not how food is meant to be, blah, 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 blah. And now the guy doesn't think twice and he heats something up in the microwave, right? So that's what ChatGPT is. Like any major shift, it's a shift where we are moving more things towards the digital side, the repetitive tasks, but the thinking tasks we're still reserving for the humans. Some things only humans can do, and those are still reserved for the humans. Now, if a human was specializing in, for example, library research, yeah, ChatGPT is going to jeopardize their job, because ChatGPTs can do it much faster and much better than an actual person going through books and writing stuff and doing research for trial law or something. And that's the beauty of ChatGPT. It doesn't matter what specific vertical you're searching for. It is aware of the context, and it will go into that vertical and get you information that only a specialist in that vertical will know, because they've learned and gone through all these books and they have all this knowledge. So it has access to all this knowledge. But it's not going to take away the higher end jobs, right? So there's nothing to worry about there. Now, the final thing is, what is Microsoft doing? So, and this, I'm going to say this with a caveat, this is just a rumor. Here's what's happening in the Microsoft world. Google has really given Microsoft the run for the money, right? Yeah. I mean, so not too long ago, Microsoft Word and Excel were the only game in town. Now, a lot of people are using, the G Suite. They're using, Google's word processor. They're using, Google's sheets, and they're doing all of that, right?
Docs.
So, the Google Docs. So what Microsoft is doing is they're seeing this ChatGPT thing, how context aware it is, and how close to magic it looks like. What if they can build that into Word or Excel, right? So for example, you wrote, right now, how Word does a grammar check, and it can give you some guidance on, hey, you can word this way, and it'll be better to read if it's this way. What if that was driven by something like AI, something like ChatGPT on the back end, where it was that much more context aware? That's what we are hearing, is that I don't know if it's going to be the next version of Office Suite, but Microsoft is working on integrating those technologies into the Microsoft Office Suite.
But if I remember correctly, Microsoft, especially Word, uses some elements of AI in its function currently, correct?
Yeah, it does, but it's not at the same level as if you go to ChatGPT and you type in something. It's not at that level. Like, so you can go into ChatGPT and you can say, hey, write me a poem about blah blah blah, and it will actually write you a poem about that subject. A poem that will make sense. So just as a test, I did I ran a test in ChatGPT where I told it, what is the most important metric to measure for a workshop? And it actually gave me the appropriate metrics that workshops rely on to measure their performance. It was amazing. I mean, so here I was that that in the computer field, and I asked it something about a totally different field, and it understood that, and it gave me the actual metrics, and not just that, but it also gave me a little detail on how to get those metrics. So now, another test is you can have it do some trial research, like you can have it do research for a certain legal case, and it will get that information for you. Another thing that we tested out was from a hacker perspective, have ChatGPT do certain things. For example, how do I perform a dictionary attack on a password protected system? Just a generic, simple question like that. And the amount of information you get from ChatGPT is very context aware and very accurate to what you should be doing, what you should do, and what you need to be doing, and all that. And of course, there are certain areas where it will caution you, hey, you shouldn't be doing this on a production system, things like that. But the thing is that now all of a sudden we have an expert in any field right in your computer. Right now, of course, the only problem is a lot of times ChatGPT servers are busy because everybody's testing it out, right? So a lot of times you'll notice if you go to their if you go to the website, it'll say, hey, it's busy, they can't do anything right now. But when we tested it, this was a few weeks ago, that when we went through some of these tests, and it was open and available, and the results were just amazing. It was almost like there's another person on the other side of the screen, and they're actually doing this work for you.
So let me ask you a question, because I had a discussion with a really close friend, that was, he felt that we were getting closer to a world where we wouldn't need, I guess, the human element. And you kind of addressed this, but I hear that a lot, where they, we talked about this a while back, but the whole machines versus the human thing, and Skynet and all this other stuff, and you kind of talked about that. No matter what, no matter how far the innovation comes, you're still going to need a human. Do you believe that at some point there would be very minimal human interaction needed in a case where where AI becomes more aware?
So that's a loaded question. So there
I know,
are so
I'm
many,
sorry.
there are so many things to that question, but in simple terms, what AI is doing right now is an illusion. It's not thinking for us. All the AI is doing is it can process vast amounts of information very quickly. That's all it's doing, is processing a lot of information. You take away that information, it's no better than like a 1-month-old child can't even say anything.
So right? It's the garbage in, garbage out type.
Exactly. So the only thing that ChatGPT has right now is it has access to vast amounts of information. So it ends up tricking us into thinking like, oh, it's this, such a smart person on the other side of the screen, when really it's just a lot of information that it's able to process very quickly. So to the human brain, it looks like, oh, this is magic. Right. And that is the scary part of it. And that's why a lot of times people are thinking, oh, it's going to be, we're one step away from robots taking over the world. We're nowhere close to that. We're nowhere close to that. I mean, shoot, we have cars that can't even drive on by themselves without getting into a wreck.
That's true.
I mean, we have cars that get tricked by, different types of lighting. I mean, I don't think we have anything to worry about right now. Now, in the future, because Moore's law is still very alive, so as we progress, and will there be a time that we have to think about these kind of things? Yes, definitely. Should we be thinking about some of these things ahead of the curve, like thinking about some of the basics and the laws that we are going to apply to this now? Maybe. I don't know. I'm no expert in that field. So there are some people who are saying we should, have some base rules right now that everybody follows. And then there are others who are saying, well, let's just do as much research as we can. Forget about the laws. We're not there yet. And I'm with them. I mean, we're not there yet, but that doesn't mean that we should not be forward thinking.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I don't think we have anything to worry about right now. What ChatGPT is doing is just processing a lot of information very quickly. That does not make it human. That does not make it intelligent. It's not intelligent. So there's a difference. If you need intelligence, you need the human mind. And that's where I think that humans should be focusing, is on doing the higher end intelligence, deep thought things, as opposed to the repetitive, like, turning a knob or making a car. Robots can do that. I mean, we have robots building them right now. I mean, even right now, even manufacturing cars, there's a lot of human element in manufacturing cars that goes on. We need to figure out and eliminate a lot of that human element there, and all the humans that are employed in that industry, they can then, focus on doing the higher intelligence type stuff, right? So they can be the ones designing the machines that are building these machines, right? So I think it was from the Terminator where it says machines building machines. No, it was Star Wars where it said machines building machines. So we need to get to that point first before we can start worrying about that the robots are going to take over the world.
Okay, gotcha.
So I think we've already been 20 minutes. It's a hot topic right now. I know everybody's talking about it. That's my take on it. I don't think we have anything to fear. But go ahead and give it a try. Go to the ChatGPT website. You can just plug it into Google, ChatGPT, or OpenAI, and create an account. It's free, and test it out. See what it does. Now, if you put something that you're a specialist in your industry, then it will be more apparent to you how good or bad this really is. And it's amazing. I mean, like, I think it will kind of really open your eyes. But at the end of the day, if you think about it deeply, it's just an illusion. It's just vast amounts of information being processed very quickly. That's all it is.
I'm gonna mess with it all this weekend. So I'm a geek. I love this stuff.
Do it over the weekend, because the best time to do it is over the weekend when not a lot of people are on there. During the week, it's almost impossible to get in and do anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. With that, we'll call it a day. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.